Hello everyone, welcome to rachelpichleryoga. Just in case we haven't met before, my name is Rachel. Today we're doing a nice full body flow, so find a little bit of space to move and let's get started. So we'll begin today in tabletop on our hands and knees. And we will start with our fingers pointing forwards, maybe spreading them wide and adding either a sway of the hips or a sway of the shoulders. Could be side to side or forwards and back or some sort of circle shape. And then you can continue to keep your fingers pointing forwards, or you can turn them out to the sides. See if your wrists can be under your shoulders, palms pressing down lightly into the ground. Maybe your fingers are still spreading out wide. And as you bring some movement back into, maybe it's the hips you're thinking about, maybe it's the shoulders, but you can decide what feels good on your wrists. Might be a half circle, a full circle, maybe even like a figure 8 kind of movements. Or, as always, no movement at all is completely fine. So here, just a little bit longer. If you do want to go further, you can turn your fingers to point towards the knees. The movement might get a little smaller, or maybe it's the same, but palms connecting down. Do what feels good on your wrists. A little bit of movement, a little bit of breath, and a whole lot of love for the wrists. Now, if you have your fingers pointing towards your knees, we're going to bring them to turn and face forwards again. And then for a counter stretch, let one hand, the palm can face up. Your fingers might point to your knee again. And then switch sides, palm up of your other hand. And then if you want to shake it out a little more than that, you could lift up off of your hands completely. Give your wrists a little bit of a shake maybe. Maybe the fingers a little bit of a flick. We are going to be bringing our hands back down though and lifting into downward facing dog, and we're not going to stay here long. So spread your fingers wide, tuck your toes and lift your knees. Push into your hands, take a deep breath in, a deep breath out, and then with your next inhale, start to look forwards. As you exhale, walk your feet to the top of your mat. Once you get there, inhale into a half lift and exhale to fold forwards. Inhale as you come all the way up to standing, reaching up. Exhale, letting your arms fall down to your sides. You could roll your shoulders back and down. All right, you guys, just a little bit of maybe a challenge. I want you to stand. You can decide how close your feet are together, how wide your feet are. We're just going to be flicking our fingers, kind of flicking the fingers against the thumbs, starting to maybe think about lifting our heels, coming onto the balls of the feet, and maybe we are still flicking our fingers. And maybe we're smiling because our heels are actually lifting. And maybe it's kind of hard to lift the heels at the same time as you continue to flick the fingers. Maybe you've done this before. Bring your heels back down if they're lifted. Let go of the flick of the fingers. Bring your arms to your sides and roll your shoulders back and down. Take a big inhale and reach up. As you exhale, fold forwards. With an inhale, take a half lift. And exhale, fold back down. As you inhale, come all the way up, reaching up. Exhale, letting your arms come down to your sides. All right, you guys, maybe a little bit more here that we can do. You can either have both of your feet planted, or this time the right heel could lift, or the foot could float all of the way. And then we can reach our arms up above us, maybe spreading the fingers wide, maybe turning the palms to face one another. And if your arms are reaching up, let them fall till they're about shoulder width. Remember, you can be on both feet, or just that right heel could be lifting, or the entire foot can be lifting. Turn your thumbs to face down. Cross your right hand over the left one and give your palms a little squeeze together. Let's bring our hands down to our belly and then maybe up to the chin. And then unwind your arms again and let them fall to your sides. Bring your right foot down if it was up and lift your left heel if you want to. Maybe the whole left foot lifts. Balancing without thinking. Sweeping your arms up above you if you want. Spread your fingers. Maybe your palms can turn to face one another. If your arms are up, lower them to shoulder height again. Thumbs down, left hand over the right one, palms together. Maybe your hands drop to your belly and pull to the chin. Maybe you unwind your arms and let your hands go all the way to your sides. Bring your left foot down if it's up, maybe a little shake of the legs. Roll your shoulders back and down. Inhale as you reach up. Exhale to fold forwards. With an inhale, lift halfway up. And exhale, fold back down. Plant your hands. Step back and into downward facing dog. Push into your hands. Send your hips nice and high. Deep breath in and a deep breath out. Stay for one more inhale. And as you exhale, slowly lower your knees down into tabletop. So we're gonna go back into our wrist, turning our fingers out to the side to start. If you want to add your left leg into this, it will go out to the side, turning the toes forwards, pushing into the foot. If you want to turn the fingers out to the sides now, you can. And remember, you can stay on both of your knees and maybe focus on the hands. So your fingers can, of course, stay facing forwards. You can turn them out to the sides, or you can turn them to face the knee. Push into the palms a little, push into the left foot a little. And if you have your fingers pointing towards your knees or to the sides, turn them back to face forwards. Leave your leg out to the side if it's there. Take your counter stretch. One palm can face up, and then you can switch to the other side. And then come back onto your hands. Bring your left leg in if it was out, back into your tabletop. And we might just lift off of our hands for a moment, and you might flick your fingers again. Flicking the fingers kind of relieves the wrists. Once you're feeling good, maybe even a little shake of the hands, bring your hands back down. And your right leg, if you wanted to, can start to go out to the side. Push into the foot, toes pointing forwards as best they can. This is the last time we're going to turn our fingers today. So, out to the sides, maybe. Pointing towards the knee, maybe. Pushing into the right foot, maybe. If your fingers are anywhere but forwards, start to turn them back. And then take your counter stretch. Palm up of one hand, and then palm up of the other. Come back onto your palms and bring your leg in if it's off to the side, and then maybe you will lift up again, take your wrist shakes, hand shakes, and maybe finger flicks. We are going to make our way to seated, so whenever you're ready for that, just bringing your legs in front, maybe starting with a little hug of the knees. And it doesn't matter if you're hugging your knees right now. I want you to see if you can hold your right hand with your left one and just create some space in the wrist joint, a little pull on your hand. And you could add that into the hug of the knees. One of those micro movements that you can't really see and just feel. And then you can switch sides. Hold your left hand with your right one and just a little bit of a pull of the hand off of the wrist, maybe in the knee hug. Maybe rocking side to side at the same time. Awesome, you guys. We're going to be finding some length in our legs. You can keep your knees bent any amount, or you can send your legs out pretty straight and maybe pointing your toes up. But as you lengthen through your spine, we're just going to start to turn our chest towards the right side for a twist. Or maybe taking a peek behind you or to the right of you. And then use an inhale to turn back, face forwards, and exhale as you twist to the left. And then letting an inhale bring you forwards again. You can have any bend in the knees as you fold forwards, or just hug your knees into your chest. Maybe you kind of sway a little side to side in your forward fold or your knee hug. And then maybe you take a moment to be still. Feel the love throughout your body, but notice your breath more. Now, if you are folding forwards, we're going to start to lift back up. And maybe hug our knees again, one more time. If you do like that little hand hold and that little pull of the wrist, pull of the hand, you can add that in. If you don't really feel that, you don't have to do it, but switch sides if you are doing it. And then we're just gonna lay down on our backs. So you can meet me there. Your knees might end up coming towards your chest. And if so, maybe you can slide your hands between your calves and your quads, kind of close to the knees maybe a little bit. Now maybe your thumbs can slide in there too, like your legs are holding or hugging your hands. And then as you kind of pull your elbows down towards the ground, or you could pull your elbows out to the side a little and then down towards the ground, and maybe you can feel that same openness in the wrist joint. Little squeeze of the legs just to keep the hands snug between them and in one place. So as maybe you can lift your elbows again, kind of pull them out to the side a little, or pull the arms out to the side a little, and then maybe drop them down a little just to open that wrist joint. And if you are hugging your hands with your legs, you can let your hug go. Maybe another flick of the fingers. If your feet are lifted, you can bring them down to the ground. Keeping your knees bent, you might add a sway of the knees side to side. Rest your arms wherever is comfy. You can let your knees start to tip over towards the left side if you want to twist a little bigger. And then lifting your knees back up and maybe let them go to the other side. And just lifting your knees, your legs up again out of your twist. If you want to hug your knees back in one more time, definitely do so. Rock side to side a few more times. Maybe even go for a happy baby. Knees out wide, feet out wide. Eventually letting your legs come down if they're still lifted. And you can send your legs out long when you're ready. Finding Shavasana. Oh, however long it's gonna last. Thank you for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your day. And until next time, namaste.